Club going up, lots going on. Andy and Clay are fresh off of NFT NYC. We will hear about their stories, their tales. And then, of course, we got the crypto markets pumping. What's going on? I've been seeing Andy's 1% image on Twitter a lot. Gets me very excited. And of course, we do have the NBA playoffs that are ripping. Some interesting developments there as I sweat all of my dance playoff teams on Underdog. Let's do it. It's the club. Let me get my screen back to normal here. Clay, you look kind of fatigued. You look like you just spent a week partying in New York City. Is that maybe accurate?
Actually, I mean, I only spent one night partying in New York City. Unfortunately, I cut my NFT NYC short, but in part because of we've been on a pretty intense 6-week sprint. But really, since like last November, it's been all gas, no breaks on our end. So yeah, it's accurate. I did have a nice coffee about an hour ago. That's kicked in a lot. So we out here. We good.
Your background has big I'm at my in-laws energy. Am I correct?
We're playing an away game today. That is accurate.
Yeah. I can spot an in-laws office set up from a mile away. Andy, how are you doing? Did you just survive NFT NYC?
Yeah, I didn't really go to too many like parties or anything for the most part. Deez and I were recording podcasts all week, and so we spent a lot of the week recording during the day and recording like 5 or 6 hours of podcasts every day. It really takes something out of you. And so we would like record during the day and then go to like a dinner or something in the evenings. But generally I was pretty wiped by the time the nightlife came around. And so it was a relatively chill NFT NYC for me.
Not that any of us podcasters and streamers are looking for sympathy, but I do know what you mean. I know in season when I was doing Sirius XM and I'd also have 2 shows and I'd be like, holy shit, I did 5 hours of broadcasting today. Like I'm so mentally and even like physically exhausted. Like I don't want to hear my voice anymore. I feel like I'm losing my
hurts
voice
a little bit.
Yeah.
It gives me like a newfound respect for like the like all day talk show hosts and all of that. Like it's fucking crazy that they can just do that every day.
What is, I don't know if this is the most interesting question to everyone else, but it's interesting to me. What is your guys' prep work for that show? What kind of research are you guys doing? Are you just like vibing and just like, hey, we're at a bar essentially, and we're just going to see where the conversation goes? Or are you guys kind of plotting things out a bit?
Yeah, we do literally no research or prep work. For the most part, we don't even speak about an episode until it starts. Basically, myself or Deez will book someone. It's not a surprise who we booked. But I actually think it like kind of works nicely because if one of us book them, probably we know them better. Right. And so you get like a pretty nice setup where one person knows them well and can ask some more leading questions. And then the other person doesn't maybe know them as well. And most of the time that's me. And like I can ask the dumb questions that Deez already knows.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I don't do a ton of prep work for my interviews because of that same reason. I normally know the guests very well, and I think people enjoy the kind of casual conversation element. But I've definitely the times I'm not super familiar with a guest, then I like to do a little more research. Or when you have, say, like Ja Rule on the club, it's like, all right, let's make sure we have a few little things here in the chamber in case we run out of material.
Speaking of Ja, literally the 10th person to pull up to our party on Wednesday night, like absolutely incredible. Walked in. We were just getting going.
Not fashionably late.
No, like, I mean, every time I hang out with Ja, I just have a greater appreciation for him. He's a good dude. 10th person inside. You would expect him to like kind of wait until like more of his people were there first or something like that. He comes in, giant bear hug from across the room. I was like, yo, do you want to come up to like the kind of more like, chill area, especially once it got packed? He's like, nah, man. He's just like literally parked at the bar, hanging out the whole time. He's like taking photos of people coming through, hanging out. But yeah,
that's
shout out Ja. Shout out Ja.
I mean, I don't want to like the fact too. I mean, we had Ja on the club early on in the bull run a couple years ago. We had the infamous moment where he was lighting up. We were playing Laden Thinks. He had the ridiculous Fruit Loops joke. Like Clay, would you ever have imagined that not only would you be hanging out with him at a club, but that you would be like a partner with him? Like he works officially with you guys in some capacity on nights, right?
Yeah, he has an official advisorship role with us for both like marketing and as we get more into some of our storytelling stuff with him and Jerry in particular. That's where they've been more deeply embedded. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, man. It's like I would have never thought in that moment. That was my first time on stream, I believe, for the club too. It was right around May of 2021, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Or, yeah, 2021. Yeah. No, never in a million years would have imagined it would have evolved like this, but I'm glad it did. And it's cool to see him actually getting some really good press recently, especially as like the whole Fire Festival 2 thing is like kind of came back into the zeitgeist. I think people are starting to understand more about, Ja's like more unaffiliation with a lot of the logistics that went so bad in that regard. I think he really got his name dragged through the documentary and everything. And he just continues to show up. And so, I mean, I just, I've kind of just tried to take it as it comes. And every time I'm around him, I gotta have a greater appreciation for just like how good of a person he is. He's just a dad that wants to hang out and smoke some weed and like, enjoy his kids. Like that's Ja, man. He's just like,
sounds like my new ethos in life.
Exactly.
That's maybe not quite as much weed smoking as Ja, but directionally very, very similar boat there. And it is funny you say that, because when he came on the show, I would have to look up the exact dates, but we weren't that far removed from the Firefest docs, because I remember when we posted on Twitter, like all the comments were Firefest jokes. Like Ja Rule, the thing he was most known for was Firefest, not like his previous body of work as like a big time hip hop artist. And now to see him, at least within the, Web3 community, kind of shed that label is cool. And although have you guys seen, I don't know, like surfing on TikTok, I've noticed Billy McFarland's been making the rounds on like some podcasts now and like spouting off about stuff in a way that's like very uncomfortable and cringy.
Yeah, well, it's this whole Firefest 2 thing. Like it seems to be very real. I don't know. It'll be interesting. People will get some good content on TikTok and stuff for it, which I think he knows, and I think that's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So what else? Who was your favorite interview that you did at NFT NYC, Andy? Or though you got to keep those close to the vest for now?
No, we can talk about him. Let's see. Favorite one?
That was my question. I wanted some alpha out of Andy. I wanted him to leak something today on the show.
Maybe my favorite was this guy. I don't even like fucking know his name. He was Jesus guy. Hold on. I can find it.
No, I love it. Clay, give me some other color.
Oh, here we go. I'm finding him.
Oh, you got it? All right.
I just found it. Yeah, his name is Magnus. What's his?
You're gonna have to recover, Andy. This isn't a hard sell.
So all right. So his name is Magnus Resch. Resch. And so he's like an art critic, dealer from like the traditional art world. But he like doesn't have a traditional art history degree, and he was kind of like, I think art history degrees are stupid. We're not, not as an art dealer. I'm mostly working with contemporary art, not art history. So like, who the fuck cares? And he mostly approached it from a very economic perspective, where he wrote his PhD about like. What was it? He wrote like a couple different papers, so I'm going to mix up a couple, like which one is which. But he wrote a paper about like why, like what galleries and like institutions in the world like actually make a meaningful difference in like the chances for an artist's success. And essentially there are like 10. And basically, if you don't show in those places, like you're probably not ever going to be successful as like a contemporary like fine artist. And he like has written a bunch of really successful books about like how to become an artist, how to become a gallerist. He's writing one about how to become an art collector now, about some of the, like he basically said that he says some of the stuff that the art world like doesn't necessarily want you to say, where like a lot of what he was saying about becoming an artist was like that it really, really matters like where your work shows, and like you're probably just not doing a good enough job marketing yourself as an artist, and that like most artists at that high level, all their work is generally the same, and it just comes down to how well you market and different things like that, which like I had never heard someone who's like well respected within the art space basically be like, yeah, most people's art generally looks the same after a certain point, and it's everything else that really matters. And it was just a really interesting conversation, and he was like also really bullish on NFTs, less so on like the hey, digital art is going to replace painting and all of that, but more so that like NFTs will represent like the provenance for all artwork, whether it's physical or digital. And so he was like, he's like, I don't think that every painting is going to just like be an NFT, but when I buy a painting from you, I'm only going to buy it if you can also transfer me the authentic NFT. And like, you can then go, he was funny because, I feel like people have said that before. And like a critique that NFT people have, or a lot of people have, is like, well, you could just go like get a fake one made in China then and sell the fake one with the NFT and keep the original. And he was like, yeah, it's the same thing as right click saving an NFT. Like, all I care about then at that point is who owns the fake that has the NFT, because the NFT is the real like certificate of authenticity. Right. And he just seemed to like really understand like the value of that provenance and like why that is compelling. And the way that he talked about the art space was super interesting for me, because I have like no real understanding of a lot of that stuff.
And there's not a lot of, there's been some artists, who were steeped in the old school art world and then got into NFTs, but to, I guess, maybe have it someone who's more from like a critic kind of standpoint that understands both of those worlds, it's probably nice to feel like they actually get it, because you felt so much disconnect. I mean, we always laughed about that first CryptoPunk auction at Christie's, where it's like they just had a fundamental misunderstanding of how to market this thing to their, old school audience. And so a guy like this is probably pretty good at bridging those worlds.
Yeah, that was actually a funny thing that he mentioned like Christie's and Sotheby's. And he was saying it's funny because NFT artists, they like are so excited to have their work auctioned at Christie's and Sotheby's. And he was like, for a traditional artist, it's like kind of embarrassing. He was like, it's not a good thing, because it means that someone's selling your work who had previously bought it to collect it. And so it's like, there's a certain amount of like net negative. And so I thought that was interesting. And he also talked a lot about kind of like the false marketing that the art world has. And so I appreciated like his level of just like candidness as well, where he was like, yeah, I feel like people generally talk about the art market like being really resilient and like doing well kind of even in these downturns. But he was basically saying that that's kind of a lie, and that essentially these like reports that show strength in the market basically only show like the top 0.01% of artwork, and like everything else is just getting like fucking crushed. And that like no one should buy artwork with any reasonable expectation that it will appreciate in value, because unless you can buy like Basquiat's and Warhols and stuff, like it's not going to do well. And historically over the last like 20 years especially, it's just been like totally slaughtered. And so I thought that was really an interesting perspective as well, because it's something that I wasn't aware of. Because you do kind of just see like, oh yeah, if you look at art, it's been up over however long. And he was saying they put all these kind of like bullshit criteria behind it of like it has to have X amount of secondary sales and all these different things, and show in one of the 20 largest institutions. And it's like, once you add all these things, then it's basically just saying like the absolute best of the best.
That's interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a cool conversation. When is that one gonna drop? That's on the We Do a Little pod feed, right?
Yeah, it'll probably be a while, to be honest. We're still playing through season 2 right now, and so this is all season 3 content. And so this will probably be like June, July that these come out. It'll be a bit.
That is the nice thing. Like to me, like hearing like right now, I just finished a best ball strategy video. That's like a more hyper produced thing that I've been working on for about a month. And I'm already worried about like some stuff not being evergreen enough, like if the BBM4 comes out and like the scoring settings are different and then the points I make. So I'm like hearing something isn't coming out until July right now would give me anxiety of like, what did we say? How much is going to change before now and then? But I envision a lot of your conversations are really evergreen.
Oh yeah. We like that's one thing, I guess we don't talk about we don't plan what we're talking about beforehand. But like we will essentially never ask anyone anything about like the current market unless it is like very specific to them and like something that is happening in their, in a project that they're doing or something. And so we try to really not have any of the conversation be something where if you listen to it a few weeks later, there's no value in it. Kind of like one thing that Deez always says is he's like, I really want this to be a thing where you can look back and listen in 5 years or watch it on YouTube in 5 years, and it'll feel like a snapshot in time of where that person was and like what they were doing. And like, it won't feel like a waste of 2 hours to listen to.
For sure. Clay, what was your overall temperature of NFT NYC? I believe you've been to like the last 3 or however many there have been. You said the vibes were a little different this year.
Yeah, I definitely thought so. And that was kind of like one of our team's takeaways too. So I'm not sure how much, Andy, you felt this with what you had going on over the week, but I think there's a couple factors that might have been in play. Overall, my takeaway was that it was a lot less like last year, where it was like kind of like last year's kind of like the coping year, like the market was kind of starting to turn. The year before was just like euphoria. And we've had 3 in like 18 months. So they're not even like once a year. It's just like the most ridiculous scheduling of all time for the conference. This one felt a lot more like ETH Denver to me, in the sense that it was a lot more like people who are founders, people who are, building, people who are like there to kind of like, in the space, and a little less like consumery, or a little less like, pump my bagsy. A lot of the stuff that I went to, even on just Wednesday, and what I heard about Beyond, was a lot more of this kind of like camaraderie environment. In our party too, the conversations were mostly about people talking about like, what they were working on in a more deeper sense. Like the conversations I had at our party were like fascinating compared to like in years past, where there's a lot more like on the fly, or I don't know, like, price go up kind of stuff. And this time it was a lot more about like, and we've also been we shipped like, 3 products in 5 days, like heading into NFT NYC. And then we had the party, and we did a big art drop with Alex Alpert as part of it, who was at our party. One of our IRL kind of activations is part of it too. Really cool. He did these like 3 pieces of football, basketball, baseball that we had go live, which were really fun. Yeah, this was the tip off. It should be, maybe scroll down. I don't know if we readjusted the page in the last day or so, because the tip off was the collection we dropped right around the Nashville party. And then if you go to collection at the top, there it is right there. Yeah. So Out of Bounds with Alex. Awesome guy, New York City based. Does really, really fun stuff. I like his style a lot. So we kind of like did these pieces as like kind of a fun collab. We did 10 of each, 0.05, and they're almost all sold out. I think there's like a handful of the football ones remaining, but the basketball and baseball are sold out. And so this has been kind of like our really like art focused kind of arm of KOD, where we're looking to really help elevate and put on both people who are making sports related art in the Web3 space, or former professional athletes who are getting into art as kind of like their second career or passion point or hobby, which has been a lot of fun. But yeah, I thought the vibes at NFT NYC were a lot different, a lot more like the other conferences that are less. And I think maybe, Bored Ape didn't have a big presence this year. Gutter Cat wasn't around. The big players are really like, I think D-Gods like kind of won NFT NYC. Killer Bears had a fantastic event from everything I saw. And, we had a great time at ours at 4040 Club, which was special. Pretty damn cool to see our name up there on the big screen in the club.
What was the one last year that went viral when I did my impersonation?
Goblin Town?
Goblin Town.
Goblin
Wasn't
Town.
that last year that they were making the waves at it?
Yeah, with the burger and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Did that track for your experience overall, Andy? I know you said you didn't go to a lot of parties, but it seemed a little bit more subdued.
Yeah, I think just like by the nature of the work that I'm doing right now, I primarily spent my time with a lot of like artists and creatives. But I think it was definitely a little bit more subdued. A lot more of like, a lot of people in my conversations with them were like, I really want to spend more time with fewer people, as opposed to like meeting 500,000 people at like 3 different clubs in one night. And so like, that was definitely something that felt pretty tangible, where like people really did want to kind of have a bit more of a chill experience and dive deeper.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is just like, there's a lot less noise right now, and a lot less like moon boys who are at these things. And so it's like the people who are going to the dinner during like these bear markets are probably people who are going to be around for a while and don't intend to leave. And so there's a lot more value in just like making deeper connections there. But overall, I think it was really good. It was fun.
It probably had to help just the overall mood too, that there was a nice little pump in the crypto markets in this past week, where we've seen everything up. I'm sure that kind of lifts everybody's spirits as opposed to everything, plummeting.
Yeah, it definitely didn't hurt.
Clayton, you said you guys have been shipping a ton of stuff. You guys have a ton on your plate. Frankie here in the chat asking about KOD staking, which you guys recently launched. How's that gone?
Yeah, it's going great. So like for us, staking is just part of our kind of like larger gameplay. Like we did not want it to be something that was just purely like, hey, go park your knight or steed in this place. So for us, like the phase 1 of staking is to receive your Degen quarters, which will eventually be kind of like a 3D environment that you can like, host people to watch games, is what we envision. It's kind of like an extension of our Degen sports bar. But we're not going too far on that yet, because, we want to be like, cognizant of how we market and promote like our 3D stuff, which we've been working on for a long time. You'll see some drips on how we're going to turn characters into 3D going forward. But for us, so the reward for the first phase is the Degen quarters, which you'll need to stake going forward. And the rewards for staking all tie into the gameplay. So it might be like an accelerator for points. If you're in a contest, like a bet to earn contest, it might be something related to, a fantasy game, fantasy sports game, or something related to the DAO. We had, I think within like the first 24, 48 hours, like close to 3,000 staked out of the whole collection of 8,888, which is pretty great considering, just like, it's hard to activate people, especially with, in a bear market. Even like you have the most like avid holders who are in Discord, but a lot of our holders are people who are out building, shit in the real world or, other Web3 companies, and they're not hanging out in Discords, which I think is a little bit unique for kind of like our project in particular from the time period we launched too. But something we take a lot of pride in. So I got to get the update on where we're at now, but yeah, so we launched the purple paper, which was like our color and context of the white paper. As part of that, that was like
what you did there.
You saw that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that one. A nice internal name that became a great product name, which I kind of love those. And then that helped launch staking for us. And then we did our open edition lore drop, which is another kind of art focused piece for us. So the final cover art is done by Process Gray, who actually did the Goblin Town artwork. Funny enough, so that's full circle. And then the chapter 2 is done by Chris. I think his last name is Ebling. He did the Zed. He's like the Zed artist and one of the co-founders there.
Okay.
So we've been partnering with some really cool artists in the Web3 space, more on the NFT side, to help like do the different cover art for each chapter of our lore. And then, this was the third thing we launched coming out of it. But staking's going great. If you have any Night Steeds, go stake. You'll find the links on our website, Discord. It'll get you your Degen quarters, which will be important for the gameplay going forward.
Awesome. Speaking of, stuff really picking up and getting going here. I saw our guy Chipsy in the chat wanted to do a heat check team. I do want to ask Andy a couple other crypto questions, but why don't we do this here to make sure this doesn't fill?
Yeah, I think it's about to fill.
All right, I'm hopping in one right now.
I've never seen a tournament like this on Underdog before. Maybe they've done them, I haven't noticed, but it's winner take all.
Okay.
So it's $20 entry, winner take all. It's like an $8,080 prize.
This is wild.
That's fun.
Okay. Yeah, this looks
I've never
very
seen
fun.
this.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen a tournament like this before. It's only 3-man draft.
Non-underdog state. I have so much FOMO, man. And I watched DJ go off last night on the hockey slips. I've been tailing his ass literally for weeks and weeks and weeks. I miss his best night of the whole season.
Dude, last night, I just randomly was like, you know what? I've been doing 25 on his slips. I'll do 50 on the slip last night. It just complete stimmy, like right into the account. You got to be following DJ Mitchell on Twitter for all of your hockey. DJ Mitchell, I had him on my show on Friday to talk hockey, best ball, and he does hockey pick'em slips, and he's been crushing them.
He's in the Badgebo streets, right? Over there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He's a puck guy.
Yeah, it's how I came across him. Yeah.
So,
all right, so what's the format here? It's winner take all?
It's
winner take all.
Quirks?
No, it's just normal. It's a 3-man draft.
Oh.
Yeah, 3-man draft, winner take all.
Fire. So big injuries in the first weekend. That was
for real.
Yeah, not great.
Well, there was a stomping as well, so that was interesting.
We can talk about that too.
It's just Mitchell and Leonard here.
Yeah.
Big tier gap to Booker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Looks like it based on ADP wise, at least how it's been drafted.
We're still playing for the whole tournament, right? This is not just first round. This is
tonight. This is
just tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Just tonight.
Got it. That's fun.
So there is the element, I think, more so in these than a lot of the other drafts. When you get into 3-man, you do really start, I think, to need to think about the uniqueness element at the very end, just knowing a lot of teams could be duplicated. But we probably still just rip best player available here at the top. Anything you'd go rogue on outside of Brunson and Westbrook?
No, this turn here is interesting because I actually have Darius Garland, the highest of in front of those 4 guys.
I like Garland. They both played over 40 minutes, him and Mitchell. So
but you have Donovan Mitchell, which scares me.
I don't hate it. You can go Westbrook. Westbrook played really well last time. They have the who's the ref that hates Chris Paul? They're going.
Scott Foster.
Scott Foster.
Yeah.
I would just take Garland, honestly. I
do too.
really like Garland
I
tonight.
like it.
And you have a
Yeah.
nice Knicks Cleveland stack now.
Yep.
So your pause is that they might be slightly negatively correlated, like a monster game. Yeah.
It's a one-night
not
slate,
super
though.
often that both of them go crazy, but it happens for
if
sure.
they both play for 40 minutes, you're fine. Like, I mean, I think so. I mean, Garland had a pretty floor.
They're
game
trimming
last
down
year,
their
last
rotation
night,
big time.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that people are being a little bit slow to react to as the playoffs are coming on with these is being a little bit too afraid to stack and stuff, because those starting fives now are
Smart
just all getting like 40. They're all getting like 40 minutes.
I think you double tap Smart and White. They both popped last time. Same with Boston. They were running like a 8-man rotation, I believe.
What do you think, Andy?
I like Jared Allen, but you don't want a third Cleveland guy
or 6th pick. You could go.
I would probably go like Ayton. I would probably go Ayton and then Smart or something like that. Ayton and one of those guys.
I'm not super high on Ayton, but I think you're fine there. I mean, White and Smart both popped off last time, but I think it's kind of a coin flip. The other thing that's interesting is, like, I was like, do we want to take like quickly or something? But I think Hart is going to play tonight. It looks like
Hart is playing, yeah.
Yeah, so then it's not as likely that it's good. But
I wonder how many people double tap Smart and White there if their ADPs are back to back. Do you think that's a popular thing?
There's enough guys who are auto drafting this probably that I bet it happens.
Okay. How many
Brogdon would be a great play low owned too, because he had a shit game 1. So he's kind of a fun pivot.
We're done.
He's max now. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Could do. Oh yeah. So the winner take all, and then this is like the exact same format, but just like a flat payout structure.
Yeah, I like the 3-man weaves actually. I think they're pretty fun.
Let's do one of these too.
They're really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just fucking fly through them.
Yeah. All right, another 1-3 spot here. So I just get to the exact same start.
So what you really want is, like, I had Tatum slip to me. Someone took Mitchell over Tatum, and so I got Tatum Leonard on the turn, and that felt really nice because I have Tatum at one overall personally.
Okay. What as far as because I want to talk to you guys about the playoffs a little bit. Of the teams that are playing tonight, was there anything surprising for you in round 1? Maybe how well the Clippers played?
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise. I watched that game. And I mean, just like naturally, they were pretty big underdogs. I was also really surprised that the Knicks won that first game. I didn't expect it. I think tonight will be really interesting to see how Cleveland bounces back. They're a young team who hasn't really taken very many playoff lumps, but Donovan Mitchell has personally. And so I think that's going to be a really, really fun game tonight. I think hopefully Hart is actually healthy and he can play, because he was just a massive difference maker for them, which it's been funny. It's fun to see you have Hart and Brunson, both Villanova guys, playing so well. And then on the same team, and then you have Monk and De'Aaron Fox, both
Kentucky.
Kentucky, playing so well. And so it's fun to see the two pairs like that of college friends.
That is a funny symmetry there. Also, as the chat's pointing out, congrats to Willis, who won one of the NHL contests on Underdog last night. I mean, just everybody crushing in the various Underdog streets there. Willis becoming a puck thought leader right before our eyes.
Love to see it.
All right, so let's see if we can get on a slightly different path. Trae Young falls this time.
Yeah. You definitely
take Trae, and I would take Brunson.
You get Trae with Brunson instead of Brunson with Garland.
Yeah,
that's a nice combo.
That is nice. If Atlanta has any chance in hell, Trae's got to go for 40 tonight.
Yeah. I apologize. Willis won 2, not 1-2 hockey.
Let's
I missed
go.
that. I saw the 1.
Yeah, I thought I was going to bink my second NBA contest in a week the other night on DraftKings, but I failed 15th. But it was a single bullet in the big contest. It was Fox missed. He went 1 for 2 on his last 2 trips to the line. It was like a $400 swing if he would have hit them both. I was like, oh my God. But still fun.
I really like this first 4. I think that's a really strong first 4.
And the young slipping probably has to be a little unique here.
I know. So do you want to like go off the board or just keep it a little chalky here at the end? I mean, I still am pretty high on. Well, damn, I don't know because Marcus Smart's like guarding Trae Young, so I wouldn't necessarily.
So yeah, I like Allen more than those other guys. Let me pull up my straight up projections. I have Allen, and then Ayton, and then Al Horford, and then Derek White.
So go
and Al Horford's like off the board. Al Horford. So if you want to get crazy,
yeah, I don't hate it. He played a shit ton of minutes last game too.
Yeah, let's try to get unique.
Yeah, he played almost 40 minutes,
which is I don't know how his legs can handle that.
Yeah, Robert Williams just hasn't been consistent for them as far as minutes and all of that goes.
But he balled last game. He looked good even in limited time.
There you go.
Yeah, I just don't think that like when they're crushing Atlanta, he's not gonna get crazy minutes. Let's try to save him.
Yeah, facts. The blowout risk is too high, I think, to bank on him, especially in draft format.
Which is funny that they're saving the young guy and playing the old guy. But,
right. The what was I gonna say? Oh, were you guys surprised? Or real quick too. By the way, I know we talk about Underdog a ton on here. If for some reason you guys aren't on there as we continue to draft over and over, you can of course always get $100 deposit match with promo code P up on Underdog. You can do the pick'em slips, you can do the drafts, however you want to blast off. And the Deposit Kingdom is a great place to discuss strategy for all of these various contests. We're sharing the slips in there, all that good stuff. Were you guys surprised about the Kings going 2-0 on the Warriors? Because on the one hand, it was like we were all pretty bullish on the Warriors in drafts. On the other hand, I remember people bringing up how poor the Warriors road record was. Yeah. And then it's like, well, this checks out. This team is awful on the road. And now they're going to Sacramento for 2 games.
I thought there was a high chance they take one. Taking both at home, I'm kind of surprised. I just thought that the Warriors were turning on in the playoffs. So I am surprised they're down both games, even with their struggles on the road. Wild scenario, man. I just don't know. I mean, it's gonna be if they win both at home, wild series, right? 3 games, anything can happen. If the Kings can pull out one in Golden State, though, it's light the beam, baby, light the motherfucking beam.
Yeah, I think like I saw a stat that basically since the Warriors have been on this run, as you know, kind of the Warriors that we know now, they've never gone down 2-0 in a playoff series.
Yeah, Steph never has.
That's
ever.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I think what's been interesting is I think the general consensus was that like in the playoffs, the game slows down. It's a lot harder to kind of play this like crazy fucking offense that the Kings play. Like, I don't know if you watch the games. It's like chaotic. They're just like sprinting up and down the court like fucking maniacs. And it's really, really fun to watch. And I think there was this expectation that against a veteran team like the Warriors who have Draymond to kind of anchor this defense, they wouldn't be able to do that. And that is just like not the case. Like surprisingly, the team that has a top 5 offense in the history of the NBA still has a really good offense who's really hard to stop. And like last night, actually, they had the second worst or maybe a third worst 3-point shooting performance of their entire season. And they still won. And so it's not like they played lights out last night. I'm surprised they took both games. I thought the Warriors would win in like 6. I think there's a chance Draymond gets suspended for their next game after stomping on Domantas.
Nah, he's not getting suspended.
Sabonis.
He's not getting suspended.
I don't know. Dude, like Mike Vick did that, or his brother did at Virginia Tech and got suspended for like a game, and Dominican Sue's been suspended for it. In football, you get suspended for doing that.
I think Woj or somebody tweeted that it's unlikely. Shams tweeted Draymond Green unlikely to be suspended for Thursday. And I don't think he should be suspended, to be fair. I mean, it's a dirty play, but like in context, especially from the game 1, that what happened there, he got his foot held. And also, if you look before, I mean, yeah, he does stomp on him, but like Sabonis has his foot in a damn chokehold, and he's like trying to pull through.
I mean, it's
dirty. I'm not saying it's not a dirty play. I'm just saying I don't think it's suspension worthy considering the context of game 1. Also like Sabonis's actions, even in game 1 too. Sabonis is like, or Draymond's trying to get up and Sabonis is like holding him down on the floor. It's just like there's a lot going on in this series. And I love the take that I think JJ Redick had this morning that was like, too, it's like, look, if you're going to be out here complaining about the physicality of the NBA, like you can't be out here screaming for Draymond to get suspended for, the next game in a playoff series, considering the context of it all.
I feel like this is the classic Draymond thing where probably like you can actually tell there's not a ton of like weight and power to the stomp, but the optics do literally look like selling it for wrestling. Like if they were doing
well, and
this,
then he was running
like,
around like he's
scripted.
Vince McMahon screaming at the fucking crowd.
He's crazy, man.
Well, I mean, Sabonis' acting job was pretty incredible too. And well, no, him just like rolling on the floor after, right? Like it's not, if you slow it down, it doesn't look nearly as bad. In real time, it looks pretty bad. And especially if you have the angle where you don't see him grabbing the foot, it looks really bad. I also thought it was hilarious because this is like a whole like kind of like meta conversation with like NBA like media and like how like the players and their agents will like use certain reporters to like help like get certain messages out there and stuff. So immediately after the game, there was like a tweet that Sabonis was getting x-rays on his chest, right? And then a few hours later, I think it was like late in the morning, I think Spears tweeted out that Draymond was getting x-rays on his foot or something like that. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, this is just like, no, like just everyone just chill out. Like move on to game 3 at Golden State. And
I was trying to pause it on the moment that was most ridiculous to me. And it's definitely this moment because it's Draymond like kicks his legs out like with this jump after it. That's so absurd. And then this is when Sabonis realized like, oh, I have to pretend like I just got shot in the chest. Yeah. It's just like such a perfect moment. I mean, my God, so ridiculous.
This had to have been like 5 seconds after I fell asleep last night. I was trying so hard to make it through the game. It was the first NBA game I've fallen asleep during in a while, which also might be why I look tired as hell today. But yeah, I think I fell asleep maybe moments before this happened because I don't remember seeing this. And then I woke up and I saw my whole Twitter blown up about this Draymond incident. I was like, here we go again.
Clay, you're starting to sound a little bit like an East Coast dad, not a young pup anymore who can just stay.
Hey, well, we do have the baby here, so
yeah.
Uncle Life is real. I'm getting a little taste of it. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, speaking of that, Andy, I mean, you had this tweet and now, I mean, I started to get nervous. I was like, uh-oh, what am I missing? Because you said we're slowly getting back to sleep is negative EV season. What are you doing in the middle of the night these days? Are you Degen farming or are you flipping?
Have you not seen Pepe coin?
We missed Guelph again, Peter. We missed Guelph again.
So this is about Pepe coin. I'll send you the link to that. You just have to look at the chart of this. This is not financial advice. This is a total shitcoin. I own like 1 Ethereum worth of it, not very much, because it's funny. But so here's the link to Pepe coin.
Okay.
And just scroll out and look at the chart.
And there's been a lot of like Pepe stuff. Like we had the Pepe NFT collection for a while, which was like a very sought after collection.
Yeah. So this token has gone from being worth essentially nothing to worth $80 million over the last 5 days.
Holy shit.
Or like 4 days. And
that's 1 week chart.
Talk about a god
go
candle.
to like the 5 minute or like the 1 minute or something.
Yeah.
If you scroll out a little bit, then you'll get an idea. Has been up only since about the 16th. I don't fucking know.
Where on this chart did you buy your 1 ETH worth?
Not nearly high enough.
Are you like
around no, down in the dip before this? Yeah, like I like doubled my money.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
There you go. And I
the way I knew to buy was Dee's texting me at like 10 p.m. on Sunday night, and he was like, "I'm buying some Pepe coin. Fuck it." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I literally replied and just said, "Fuck me," and I bought. So.
There you go. So did you say you rolled out of bed in the middle of the night to go pack your Pepe bags?
No, I bought it in the morning when I woke up. Not kidding. I lost like 10.
Missed out on Guelph.
I missed out on so much.
That was like a 100K miss.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, there's like some guy who turned like a couple $100 into like $50,000 or $500,000 on this already. Like it's fucking crazy.
You love to see it. And Andy, yeah, I mean, I have to ask, financial advice. What's the utility of this coin? It is going to be the future reserve currency of the world. Is kind of your play here.
Yeah, my understanding is that everyone's going to do everything they can to incorporate it into anything they ever make in the future. And so I think that'll be pretty bullish.
The utility is getting rich.
Speaking of a beanie callback, I haven't seen him pop up. Is he still like kicking around in the NFT and crypto streets?
Not that I'm aware of. Every once in a while, he'll message me. I don't know why my camera's gotten so dark. What's going on?
There we go.
No, come on. There we go. Every once in a while, he'll message me. I haven't heard from him in a while though, so I'm sure he's chilling in South America or something.
This is Bales' burner. The Pepe gains will naturally rotate to Poodle. Actually, it's probably Levitan's burner because
it's a honeybee.
Yeah. Bales dumped his Poodle on Levitan. Well, holy cow! I completely missed the Pepe coin stuff. This is why I host Club Top Shot, so I can learn.
Yeah. Well, now there's also Wojak, which is another meme coin du jour, and so like not kidding, Pepe coin and Wojak are the two largest volume coins, only after Ethereum and USDC on all of Ethereum, the blockchain, over the last 24 hours. Each one has $50 million in trading volume. Wojak is at a $13 million valuation, and Pepe coin is at $80 million. Why or for how long or what? I have no fucking idea, but.
Do you think it's just like pure, like we've had all these degens on the sideline for a while through like kind of a prolonged bear and them just feeling burned. Like I can't just, fully torch it off here screwing around. And then we get one like decent uptick and they're like, it's time to speculate, baby. Euphoria. We need something to gamble on right now.
That's one of the reasons I'm bullish on crypto long-term, honestly, is that like people say this, but like, I really think it's true that like, Ethereum is the best like casino in the world.
Yeah.
And so like I do think that there's just a non-trivial amount of people who just like are super down to play these random degen games because like who knows, maybe it'll be the next Shiba Inu. Like
I thought you were gonna say Bitcoin as I pulled up your
who knows, maybe it'll be the next Bitcoin. Yeah. So when I pull an 8,000x and my one Ethereum is worth 8,000 Ethereum because my Pepe coin has become the global reserve currency.
Yeah.
I'll invite you guys all to the party. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We do have to do a bit of a quicker show tonight because the three of us have to run to various obligations, but appreciated you guys hanging out with us. And when I ship that $8,000 here on the heat check, I do owe some of it to Chipsy for letting me know about that. And, we'll chop it around here too. We'll throw a nice little pizza party for the good people. Andy, anything else coming up on your radar this week? Obviously, people should subscribe to We Do a Little. I've been getting those in my feed, the old season of ones that are already in the can.
Yeah, I would just like to flag that I believe his name is Chip Skylark, not Chipsy.
It's a bit, but yeah.
Oh, damn.
It's all right. It's all right.
No, otherwise, no. We have a fun 420 drop on Escher this week with Arsenic. And otherwise, yeah, just, God, what the fuck is wrong with my camera?
Yeah, we need to get you some lights. We'll get you some lights. Yeah, if you're going to be a professional podcaster.
I've just been too lazy to set it up. It's just sitting in my closet. It's right on the other side of this wall.
This is what happens to me because like the lights are super. This is what it looks like when I turn off my lights. This would be what I was streaming with without my lights, which feels very good for my eyes. But these are the things I do for you guys when we turn on the cameras, bright lights. Clay, you mentioned a lot of stuff going on in Degen world. Anything else on your radar?
Yeah, look, I mean, I got the travel pack going, so that's how you know it's real. Out here. I think we're gonna roll Andy's winnings into an extra light that he'll actually set up. I'm rolling my winnings into Pepe, that's for certain. But no, just come hang out. We're gonna be actually a little alpha dropping a brand new website tonight for KOD, which I'm excited about. Wow. So if you're looking for a place that has all the good info on purple paper staking, everything else we got going on, Degen Sport Collective as well, definitely check that out. Very proud of it. Our design team is amazing and been crushing it. So really excited to roll that out. And otherwise, yeah, come hang out, man. We're having a great time. If you want to get, earn on the bets you're placing, come hang out. This bet to earn. But that's it for us. Yeah, man. NFT was great. Always good to see you guys. This is a highlight of my week.
All right, guys, be careful out there in the meme coin streets. Otherwise, you'll be buying Andy's Pepe coin, which I'm sure you'd be happy to sell to you.
If anyone's looking to sell, I'm willing to sell at a $60 billion valuation. Yeah. It's a good deal.
And for that